what is isolationism? Like, how are we doing this to ourselves? My question is, what do you see as some of the negative consequences? I don't know that there are any good ones, so that's why I say negative, but what are the consequences of being an isolationist believer who doesn't plug into the church, who doesn't plug into the fellow believers around them and use that to their advantage?
It's hard to say. Like, I had a grandfather who had some bad interactions at church, some bad things that happened, and so he'd stopped going, I think even before I was born, but I always saw him every day reading his Bible and making notes, and his relationship with the Lord was good, but still you miss out on something if that's all you do. Now, does it affect your salvation or anything like that? No. But what the Bible continually tells us to do is you need that fellowship. One, you need the accountability for people to help you. When you're tempted, you need someone to confess it. Well, those two kind of go together. But you need that help, that support. And, Jesus, when we see him start his ministry, he immediately surrounds himself with 12 dudes. And, there's many reasons for that. And he had many more followers, but those were his closest friends. And I there's a reason for that. Yeah, Jesus would go off occasionally and pray by himself. But he always came back, and he always had, it talks about him going to dinners. And he always, that was a crucial part of all of it. So I think I have not answered your question at all.
No, I think you have. I think you have, and you spoke to things that I'm thinking at the same time, where something you said made me think the prime example of the person who's an isolationist in church is now it's the person who says, you know what? I don't even need to go to the building. Yeah. I can sit at home and I can listen. I can listen to the stream. And even before even the modern iterations of this, you saw people, and you still do see them, people that say, "Well, I don't need to go to church. I have the Bible. I have Jesus in my heart. Yeah. I can seek Him out on my own, and I can stay at the house, and I can do my own church service, my own private worship, for lack of a better term." And we see that in our world even today. And I think the stream has again given you a more false sense of being able to be part of the community when you're not actually putting forth the effort to do it. And you're not reaping the rewards of being part of the community is the big problem. So if that's you, this is not a scolding moment. This is an encouraging moment that says, hey, there's something here for you. There's something at the church that can be of benefit to you. And not just because of having a relationship with Bob or Tom or whoever it is that's there at church. It's about knowing that there are people who love you and support you and will care for you and help you, as Evan was talking about, help you work through your faith. Stronger Christians, weaker Christians that need your help. And so there's people that need you. And as Evan was pointing out, made me think of it too. If there ever was a person who was qualified to be in isolation by himself, it was Jesus Christ, because He didn't need anybody to be around Him. He was not going to be any more God, and He was not going to be any less God if He stayed by Himself. And He could have done whatever He wanted and been perfect in it. And instead, He chooses to surround Himself with the 1, and then the 3, and then the 12, and then the 100, and it's those tiers that He spends time with in different amounts of time and different levels of intimacy. And Jesus plugs Himself into a group of friends, for lack of a better term. That's what they are. They are friends, and they support each other. And you know that in Jesus' flesh, that it was helpful to have those 12 guys with Him sometimes. And when Peter says, "You are the Christ," when he says that, others say, "Well, you're this, that, and the other," and Peter says, "But you're the Christ." That just had to make Jesus feel so good because He had friends with Him that were helping and that were learning and believing in Him, and all that stuff seems like it would be so strong. So I think that you were right on point there. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add to that or not.
Well, I was going to say also it goes all the way back to the creation narrative where God creates Adam, but then what does he say? He said, it's not good for man to be alone.
Yeah.
Now, in that, he created the helper Eve for him. So that was, a different kind of companionship. But the lesson still applies. It's not good for man to be alone. They need, we need people. It's just a fact. We need people. We need to be around people.
And I would say in my own personal experience, my own personal life, I think Evan would vouch for this as well, is that in times when I have found myself just wanting to be alone for an extended duration, again, like Evan said, there's nothing wrong with every now and then need some time for yourself. But when you do it as a practice for life, that you're just going to spend the rest of your days alone, you get down and you get negative. And you think that no one cares about you and you're alone because nobody's checking on me, but you don't think about the fact that you're not checking on anybody else. It's a two-way street, but those are just some of the consequences I think that we've spoken to. And so now if we kind of swing and we go backwards and we say, well, those are the consequences. What are some concrete benefits that you would encourage somebody and say, this is what's waiting for you if you just are willing to plug yourself back in? What are the benefits of including yourself?